So here we are at the end of another busy week of video games. Lots of things been happening and lots of awards, and we're going to kick off with those. Hi, I'm Prob, and welcome to News Trash here on The Geek Show, your regular look at all of the interesting things that have been happening in the world of video games over the last few days. And we're kicking things off this episode with some awards that have been happening that I didn't include in the last episode. In particular, we're going to focus on the Golden Joystick Awards, which were announced a few days ago, and we're also going to be talking about the Independent Game Developers Association Awards, which are also known as the TIGA Awards, and we're going to be doing a bit of a comparison between the two. I'll give you fair warning right now, there will be some hot takes on this, and some people may shout at me. So starting off with the Golden Joystick Awards, well, let's have a look. Best Multiplayer went to It Takes Two. Fine, no problem there. Best Visual Design, Ratchet & Clank A Rift Apart. Fair enough. Best Game Expansion, Ghosts of Tsushima Iki Island Expansion. No problem. Mobile Game of the Year, League of Legends Wild Rift. I don't know enough about that area, so I'm not going to comment. Best Indie Game, Death's Door. I think that one is more of an opinion one. Studio of the Year, Capcom. Fair enough, someone has to win it. Not sure if Capcom are the right studio, but I understand why they picked Capcom. Breakthrough Award goes to Housemarque. Okay. Best Community and Still Playing Awards went to Final Fantasy XIV. Totally in agreement there. PC Game of the Year went to Hitman 3. Again, not sure if that was the right one. Xbox Game of the Year, Psychonauts 2. Really? Forza Horizon didn't even make the cut. Maybe it didn't actually go into the right window. Don't know. PlayStation Game of the Year, Resident Evil Village. Again, not sure about that one. Most Wanted Game, Elden Ring. Fair enough. Critics' Choice Award, Deathloop. Seriously misunderstood game by a lot of people. Best Storytelling, Life is Strange True Colors. I will be honest, it's easy to tell a story in a narrative-driven game where you don't have many other mechanics other than walking around and talking to people. That would be my only criticism with the choice there. Ultimate Game of the Year, Resident Evil Village. Really? Resident Evil Village was your ultimate game of the year? You didn't have a better choice on that? That explains why Studio of the Year was Capcom. Ultimate Hardware of All Time? Again, really? PC is ultimate hardware of all time? So you can see the end of time and space and you know that PC is the ultimate hardware of all time. And the ultimate game of all time was Dark Souls? I mean, isn't the general consensus that Dark Souls 3 was much better than the original Dark Souls? And aren't there better games than Dark Souls? And also, isn't it dependent on which genre of game you prefer playing? So it's kind of a casually arrogant thing to say this is the ultimate game of all time when you haven't really defined it properly. So yeah, criticisms there. Some things I agree with, a lot of things I disagree with. So let's have a look at the TIGA Awards. And this makes for more interesting viewing. Best Arcade Game, for example, a category that doesn't even make it into the Golden Joystick Awards, and yet arcade games are always a staple. Best Arcade Game is Team 17 and Studio Koba's Narita Boy. Gotta say it properly, Narita Boy! They also have categories for Best Recruitment Agency, Best Localization and QA, Best Casual Game. They've got Trail Mix, Love and Pies. Don't know that game. Heritage in Game Awards goes to Dovetail Game, Train Sim World 2. Again, I don't know the game. Best Educational Series or Simulation Game. They have a category for that. Best Technical Innovation. Best Audio Design. Now, that's a category I didn't touch on with the last one, because that one in Golden Joystick Awards went to Resident Evil Village. And yet, I agree with the TIGA Awards, because they awarded it to Square Enix for Near Replicant version 1.22474487139... And I can't believe I read that out. And I have to admit that the audio design in Near Automata and Near Replicant is stunning. And it pisses all over the audio design for Resident Evil Village. So I do have to call that into question for the Golden Joystick Awards. Best Role-Playing Game. Variable State, Last Stop. Now, this is a game that has been on my radar for a while. I think I'm going to have to bump it up my list of things to play. Best Action and Adventure Game went to Spider-Man Miles Morales. fine. I have no problem there. Diversity Awards, Creativity Awards, Best Educational Institution, Best Social Game, Supermassive Games, The Dark Pictures Anthology, Little Hope. Again, fine. Best Strategy Game went to Total War Warhammer 2. Best Publisher went to Sony Interactive Entertainment. They even have a category for Best Tax and Accountancy Firm in Video Games. This is a really comprehensive and really diverse list of awards that will probably not get a lot of people's attention because it's not the Golden Joystick Awards or Jeff Keighley's Game Awards or anything like that. But I will say this, the Independent Game Developers Awards are probably a better indicator of the state of video games as they really are, rather than as a lot of people hope they are. Just to round things off, Game of the Year, according to the TIGA Awards, was the Dark Pictures Anthology, Little Hope. Even though I don't think that should be the Game of the Year either, I do think it's a much better game for Game of the Year than Resident Evil Village, a game that was widely criticised for toning down the horror in favour of a more arcadey style of play, and was also roundly criticised for having one of the blandest protagonists in modern video games. And that's your Game of the Year according to the Golden Joystick Awards. Okay, leaving the Game Awards there for now. We'll come back to them in a future episode, or maybe even an episode of Impossible Mission. We shall see. So on to more normal news. The Chinese government has suspended Tencent from updating or launching apps in China. Now this is according to the South China Morning Post. Apparently this is a temporary administrative guidance measure that the nation's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology has implemented, and they've ordered app stores and other platforms to prevent Tencent from releasing updates on new apps. Tencent have responded by saying regular cooperation with relevant government agencies to ensure regulatory compliance is one of the things that they generally do. They've also added that all apps will remain functional and available for download. So what's this all about? Well, it's part of a campaign from the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology in China that's been running since last year, and the whole point of it is to ensure that apps follow data privacy and cybersecurity laws when it comes to collecting data from users. But it's still quite draconian and heavy-handed, I think most people would agree. So, moving on to CD Projekt Red, who are still in a lot of people's bad books. And the president of CD Projekt Red has been talking to a Polish economic newspaper. Now, Adam Kaczynski, I think his name is pronounced. I hope I pronounced that correct. He was asked if the company was considering finding an investor or announcing strategic options. He has responded by saying, "We have been saying for years that we plan to remain independent and do not plan to become part of a larger entity. We are also not looking for a strategic investor." Kaczynski was then asked if it would be possible for another company to perform a hostile takeover of CD Projekt Red by buying shares, but he explained that the company articles of association protected against this. There are provisions that significantly hinder hostile takeovers, he confirmed. So CD Projekt Red want to stay independent, and I'm okay with that. Do you know what else they want? They want Cyberpunk to be a good game. And they believe that it will be considered a very good game in the long run. So at some point in the future, people will look back at Cyberpunk and say, "Oh, what a game that was. It's just a shame about the launch." Something that people also say about No Man's Sky. What a game it is now compared to how it was at launch. And if they do achieve that, fair play to them. The problem is that they tarnished their own brand when they released Cyberpunk in the state it was, and they did that knowing what state it was in. They could have easily just said, "No, we're not going to release the game in the state it's in. It's not finished. There are too many bugs. We cannot release this. We couldn't in good conscience take money for this." They could have just done that. We would have understood. Yes, we wouldn't have been happy. A lot of people wouldn't have been happy. But you know what? I would have had total respect for them if they stuck to the guns and did that. It's going to take a lot for gamers in general to forgive CD Projekt Red. It'll probably take years, as the developers of No Man's Sky have found. So, moving on to the PlayStation 3. The PlayStation 3? Really? Yes, really. A group of fans are reviving the PS3's online multiplayer with emulated servers. Now, this is a very strange story. The PS3 has been a dead console for a while now. But the thing is, during the PS3 era, there were a lot of cracked online games, and there were a lot of ways to play together. But most, if not all, of Sony's servers for the PS3's online functionality was shut down years ago, and now a group calling themselves PS1, PlayStation Online Network Emulator, has been busy working to restore Sony's online games so you can carry on playing them. They reverse engineered the PS3's online protocols and set up their own emulated servers. Now, that same group, PS1, they have been working with an online fan group in order to bring Destination Home back to life as well. The fan group has been trying to resurrect Home for a number of years, and they have got an offline version which is available for download and play on modded PS3 consoles and emulators, but now it's back up and running. According to the group, players will be able to connect online to Home and connect to public and private lobbies again by the end of this year. Now, I am curious about this because Sony tend to be quite heavy-handed when it comes to modders and emulators and things like that. But concerns about piracy aside, I actually think these two things, hand in hand, the multiplayer part and Destination Home, I think they add to Sony's brand and add to the brand loyalty rather than detracting from it. And I think if Sony are smart about this, they will embrace these modders and these fan groups and say, you've done this, you've shown us that there is a demand for it, so we're going to help you, rather than hinder you. Moving on to Mass Effect. Yes, Amazon, as we talked about in the other episode, as we talked about in the previous episode, are looking at making a Mass Effect TV series and are close to reaching a deal for it. Well, former BioWare lead writer David Geider has said that he's happy that the Mass Effect Amazon deal is for a TV series, not a movie, but the possibility of a live-action Mass Effect makes him cringe a little, and in his Twitter thread he lists a few reasons why that is the case. Number one, you're able to create your own custom character in Mass Effect, and you imprint yourself onto that character. Number two, the protagonists are designed to be blank slates. How you're going to achieve that in a TV series, he's not sure. I actually disagree with him on this in one very fundamental sense. Who said Shepard has to be part of the TV series? He's not Mass Effect. He's just one character in a universe that was created. So Mass Effect doesn't have to include Shepard, not directly. You can refer to Shepard by extension. You can refer to the actions that Shepard took by extension. You can make some things canon in the Mass Effect universe or leave things up in the air if you don't know how exactly the players chose. You can basically just say, we're not sure. There are loads of ways you can write this. There are loads of ways you can spin this. So the idea of a Shepard character, I don't think you need it, which weirdly enough means I'm about to get a lot of Mass Effect fans shouting at me because fans have been sharing their concerns about Shepard in the TV series. According to a lot of the fans, the biggest issue is that Shepard isn't an easily defined character, and everyone who played Mass Effect had their own version of Shepard, imprinted with their own ideologies, their own thoughts, beliefs, opinions, that sort of thing, right? Not only that, the Mass Effect 4 trailer has only given us a brief idea of what's happening in that trailer, so I think they would need to work heavily with EA in order to understand what they want from the Mass Effect game, and maybe tie that in with the TV series, I don't know. On the flip side, though, some of the developers who worked on Mass Effect are actually looking forward to the show. They've actually expressed their interest in the show. Drew Karpyshyn, who was the lead writer on both Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2, and also wrote a trilogy of tie-in novels, he has weighed in on this and said, I am not involved, but I'm looking forward to it. Happy to consult if they want my input. Not only that, composer and developer and entrepreneur Sam Hulick has also donated his voice to the cause. He's also a veteran of Mass Effect. So we'll see how that spins out. Like I said, I personally don't think you need Shepard in the Mass Effect TV series. Or if you are going to put him in, make him an older character who's kind of retired or semi-retired. Anyway, our final story, and this is probably the most hopeful story of the week. The producer of the Mario movie has said that Chris Pratt's plumber won't have an Italian accent and has called Chris Pratt's voice phenomenal. So, Chris Melodrandi has defended Chris Pratt's casting and said that Chris Pratt had the voice that he was looking for ages. In an interview with 2Fab, Melodrandi said, "All I can tell you is the voice that he's doing for us and Mario is phenomenal. Yeah, I can't wait for people to hear it." So we'll see. Anyway, that's your lot for this episode. If you have any thoughts about any of the stories from today, then leave us a comment below. If you want to show your support through Patreon, then we do have some exclusives on there, like Director's Lottery and a few other things. And with that, that's a wrap. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all on the next episode.